hot. Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nazjaa and I make college or lifestyle related content. As you may or may not know, I'm a freshman at Stanford University and I have this channel to give you guys college advice and just show my perspective and my lifestyle as a college student. So today's video is a college advice video about why I actually chose to attend Stanford versus the other schools that I was admitted to last year. If you want to learn more about that, I have 2 or 3 videos about my college application experience last year on my channel and I can link them up here somewhere. But if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram if you have any questions. But let's just get right into this video. So I'm going to begin by talking about the schools that I was admitted to and which ones I was actually choosing between. But I wanted to make one quick disclaimer before we get into the video, and that is that money was not a deciding factor in choosing a school for me. I was fortunate enough to receive full rides to many of the schools that I was actually admitted to, so money was not a huge deciding factor. But I know that money is one of the main deciding factors for many people when they're choosing what school they actually want to attend. So I will talk about that later in the video, but I just wanted to get that out of the way right now. I'm very grateful for the offers that I received from each of the schools, and I was fortunate enough to be able to make that choice without having to worry about the financial burden. So first, I'm going to read the list of schools that I was admitted to last application season, and like I said, I have a video all about this if you want to know more details. But I was admitted to Stanford, University of Southern California or USC, Notre Dame, Johns Hopkins, Emory, Georgia Tech, NYU, and a few other schools, and I was also waitlisted at a couple of schools. I didn't really pay any more attention to those after I received admission to Stanford because I knew that's where I wanted to go, but those were all the schools that I was accepted to and that I had to choose between. But in the end, I mainly narrowed it down to Stanford, Johns Hopkins, and Emory. So one important thing to note is that I applied to these schools as a potential psychology major, and that at first I was on a pre-med track. I wanted to be a pre-med student, go to medical school afterwards, which is why I had interest in Emory and Johns Hopkins, which are kind of like medical focused schools. So that's why they were kind of high on my list along with Stanford, but all of that is changed now, and now I can get into the reasons why I actually chose to attend Stanford University. So Stanford had been my dream school like many other people for the longest time, and it was mostly because of superficial reasons at first. But then once I actually got to this college application process and I did my research, I went on tours, I watched videos, I was actually like, yeah, this is definitely where I want to be. And there are a couple of reasons why. Okay, so the first reason, and this is a very broad reason, but it was almost a no-brainer for me to choose Stanford, just because while Johns Hopkins and Emory and all the other schools that I were admitted to were amazing schools, absolutely amazing, and I'm so lucky to be able to have gotten into those schools, I believe that Stanford is just on a different caliber of like education and resources and just location. And it was honestly the perfect school for me particularly, and I'm going to go into detail about each of these reasons. And this is kind of blunt, but I'm just trying to be 100% honest. The prestige was a big factor in me choosing the school. It's a big factor in a lot of people choosing schools that they do choose. So I'm just going to say that right off the bat, is that yes, prestige played a large factor in me choosing Stanford over some of the other schools, but there were also other reasons as to why I chose Stanford. Reason number 2 was the location. So when I was a senior in high school, I was super adamant about leaving my hometown and just going across the country, being far from Atlanta, being in a whole new place, and I had my eyes set on California. I don't know why, I just wanted to go to California super bad, maybe because of the weather, maybe because of the California life. It was just, I wanted to go there so bad. So my top schools that I was looking at were Berkeley and Stanford, and I just knew that I wanted to go to California and just be on the West Coast. I just really like the idea of being in California, being in the sunny weather, and just seeing the palm trees. And this is super like trivial compared to the other reasons, but weather and location did play a big factor in me like leaving my hometown and going across the country. And now I know for a fact that I want to return to Atlanta because nothing can compare to Atlanta, but that is a whole conversation for another video. My third reason, and probably one of the biggest reasons for me aside from prestige, was that the quality of education that I would receive from this school would be excellent no matter what major I was in. So like I said, I applied as a psychology major. I was interested in doing pre-med at first, and I knew that there was some possibility that I would change my major and that I would maybe go a completely different route. Maybe I would go STEM, or maybe I would go like full-on humanities, like philosophy or something. I was super like open, even though I'm still really interested in psychology. I knew that there could be a possibility that I wanted to focus on other things, and I knew that Stanford would have excellent programs no matter which major I chose, even if it was like from psych to philosophy to art to film to like CS. Anything I chose, I knew that Stanford would be right up there in the ranks of having a good program, and that if I changed my mind, I would be able to be in a good place. And Stanford also really emphasizes the importance of interdisciplinary studies, which was really important to me because I'm not a big STEM person, but I do want to dabble a little bit in STEM. So I thought that was really good for me to be able to get interdisciplinary education. And that leads me to my fourth reason, which is that Stanford doesn't put a lot of pressure on you to decide your major right off the bat. So I know a lot of schools, like, you apply with an initial major, or you apply into a major, you have to apply into a program, and then you go there and you like on that pathway already. However, with Stanford, you don't have to declare your major until the end of your sophomore year, and this gives you a lot of flexibility in your first and kind of your second year to decide what kind of path you want to go down. And from my experience, it's been that Stanford is not pressuring you to choose a major even during your first year. They're encouraging you to explore classes, explore different fields. Don't settle down on one thing just yet because you do have time. So that was what was really important to me, is because I know I can change my mind at any time, and psych might not be the path for me, or it might. So I still don't know, but Stanford's not pressuring me to choose, so we will continue to just explore and try different things. And it's really helpful that the requirements that are needed to graduate from Stanford are super flexible, and a lot of different classes can satisfy a lot of different requirements, so I'm able to just do things that I like while still satisfying requirements. So that was something that I learned over the course of doing my research, and that was one thing that really helped me solidify my decision in attending that school. Okay, fifth, and this is probably one of the bigger reasons why I chose Stanford over Emory and Johns Hopkins specifically, and this is the sense of school spirit. So when I say that, y'all are probably like, girl, really, school spirit? But this was something that was really important to me, coming from a high school that did not have a lot of school spirit, did not have very good sports, and it's just something that's kind of makes your experience really fun, is that people really love their school and they're going hard for their school, and you guys can go to all the sporting events, and it's just a really fun time, and you guys like have this thing in common where you're all going to this school that you're really proud of. So that was what was important to me, and I can't speak on the school spirit experience at Emory or Johns Hopkins or any of the other schools because I'm clearly not there, but I'm really happy with Stanford school spirit. Everybody literally loves to support Stanford and go to all the sporting events, and football, basketball, and literally every sporting event is so fun to go to. So that was definitely one of the deciding factors for me. And y'all might be like, girl, school spirit is not that serious, but it's what really makes your experience fun, in my opinion. So that's what I liked about Stanford. It was like a really well-rounded school with education, with school spirit, with location. Everything was just adding up perfectly, and that's why it was my dream school prior to me getting in. Okay, so the sixth reason that I chose to attend Stanford was the lack of a competitive culture. So I've heard that a lot of schools, like Ivy League schools like MIT or other T20 schools, have a very competitive, cutthroat nature, and I knew that was something that I did not want, because I did not want to be surrounded by people who were competing with me, who wanted to see me do worse than them, who weren't supporting me, who weren't willing to help. I was just like, no, I was not about to do that. And I heard that Stanford was really good at being like non-competitive, and had a very helpful and nice atmosphere, and people were just always willing to help. And now with my experience at that school, I can definitely confirm that it's not competitive at all. In my experience, like I said, it's not competitive, and people are super willing to help you no matter like what they're doing, what major they're in, how old they are. They're always going to be people who are willing to help you, and that was something that was really important to me. Like, even though I wasn't choosing between those Ivy League and super cutthroat schools like MIT, I knew that this is something that I wanted in a school. So if you are considering Ivy League schools or any of those other schools that have that cutthroat reputation, make sure to do a lot of research about that and decide if that's really something you want to undergo. And if not, then make sure you're looking closely at Stanford for that non-competitive, easygoing atmosphere, because everybody's super nice and always willing to help you. And I just want to reiterate that this is all my experience. You can talk to another Stanford student who might have a different experience, but for me and for a lot of the people that I've already talked to, this has been the case. So the seventh reason is the appearance of the campus. This wasn't a huge factor, because a lot of the campuses that I was considering were very pretty, very cute, but Stanford's campus is honestly unmatched in my opinion. I love how Stanford's campus looks. It's super clean, modern, there's palm trees, it's sunny, and it just seems like a really good place to be able to live and just get that real, like, this is like the movie type college experience. People were on the lawn, and I just saw videos of people like having fun outside, and it just seemed like a really happy place, and this is where I wanted to be. So that look of the campus was honestly one of the deciding reasons that I decided to go, because it looked super new and like modern compared to some of the old like Gothic architecture or like older buildings that I was seeing at some of the other schools. Even though I didn't actually step foot on campus until admit weekend, and after I had already committed, I looked at a bunch of pictures, YouTube videos, virtual tours, and I just fell in love with the look of the school. So I encourage you guys to go and do that since you cannot visit right now. And if you haven't visited in the past, just make sure to watch tours, videos, look at pictures, and just get a good view and a good perspective of what the campus looks like for each of the schools that you're considering. Okay, so the 8th and final reason that I chose to attend Stanford is that I had a full ride to Stanford University plus scholarships that could cover the rest of the cost of any out-of-pocket things that I had to pay. So that was a big reason why I chose to attend Stanford. It was the best aid package that I received from all of my schools, and I was really grateful to have been able to be in that position. Basically, as you can see, it just checked every box for me. Like, everything I was looking for in a university is what Stanford is. So it's honestly my dream school, and I'm really glad that I made this decision. And I will have more tips on how to choose a school in a future video, but honestly, just do what you feel is best for you. Weigh the pros and cons of each of the schools that you're considering, and we will talk more about this in a future video. So overall, choosing to attend Stanford was kind of a no-brainer for me. As you guys can see, it has been my dream school for forever, and I didn't even actually think that I would get in, but I don't regret my decision in choosing Stanford, not one bit. Even though the university isn't perfect, no university is perfect, and I'm honestly super happy with my decision to attend, and the current students can just continue to try to improve the conditions of the university. So I hope this helped a little bit in helping you figure out why you might want to go to Stanford, why someone like me chose Stanford versus the other schools I was considering. I will have more videos coming out soon about what I love about Stanford, what I hate about it, my experience there. So if you enjoyed this video or you've checked out any of my other videos, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. But that is all for today's video, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.